Namaste. Hope I am visual and also audible. Now, friends, welcome to this a special program. Today is a International Museum Day, 18 May 2020, and I welcome on behalf of 𝙀𝙀𝙀𝙀 all of you. Hope that everybody is fine. Now, friends, museums, have their own importance, and all over the world, there are many different museums. I think there is a museum for everything. There is a toilet museum, there is a railway museum, there is a anthropological museum, archaeological museum. There is a museum for everything. But today I am going to discuss a little bit about the museums for the cultural studies. Mostly the archaeological museums and the museums dealing with the culture. Now in India, we have many museums. But one of the basic issues we have is that museums are treated as merely as a storehouses, and the artifacts are displayed with little bit information on them. This is not really, this is not what we want impact from the museum. The museum has to be place, where we can educate the people, we can give them proper maybe awareness program. We can also tell about the importance of the culture, relevance of the culture, and it has to be more interactive. It has to be, the self-explanatory. And, we are making efforts, in fact, in developing such museums now in the country. The museums are also places where the objects are also preserved for posterity, and also it generates a lot of employment. It also does the economic development of the region, of the city where it is located. But today I'm going to reveal you the formation of one of the most important museum complex in the country. But before that, I would also like to discuss about the museum that we are planning at the site of 𝙀𝙀𝙀𝙀. Now at 𝙀𝙀𝙀𝙀𝙀, we are planning two museums. One is a museum in real sense, like any other museum, inside the proper building, and the other one is an open air museum. First, I will explain what is open air museum. We are planning to excavate a part of the Harappan city at 𝙀𝙀𝙀𝙀. On many occasions I mentioned that we will not excavate the site on large scale, but we will excavate a small part of the city, and that part of the city will be preserved, protected, and it will, we are planning to create an open air museum there. We would like to maybe have a dome-like structure on that particular excavated portion, so that it is not affected by the rainfall and the sunshine, and that part would be open to the public throughout the year. So people can walk through the maybe Harappan street, they can feel the Harappan structures, they can feel the Harappan maybe material culture. So this is what we are planning in one part of the site. And the Archaeological Survey of India, in fact, did try this type of museum at the site of Kalibanga, but unfortunately it is now non-functional, because after the development of the museum, we have to make sure that we have to develop a mechanism for maintenance of the museum and for running of the museum. So that needs to be done. And I will tell how we are proposing at the site of 𝙀𝙀𝙀. What we want to do in fact at the site of 𝙀𝙀𝙀. Now both the museums are will be developed by the government, by the central government as well as the state government. We will participate in that, and ultimately we will also involve the local people, the panchayat in fact of the village, and ultimately after the infrastructure is fully developed, it will be handed over to the panchayat, so that the panchayat can run that they can maintain that, and they can generate some revenue from that. So this is what we are planning, and I'm sure that we will keep them guiding, advising from time to time. But once we give this responsibility to the villagers, they will feel more in fact connected to this type of museums, and they will come forward, and certainly they will make sure that the museums are run properly there. The other museum that we are planning, like in any other museum, the government of Haryana has already built a museum building there, and slowly now we will start developing this particular museum. We will certainly help the state government and also the Archaeological Survey of India in developing this particular museum properly. What we are planning in fact at this particular museum, it is not like any other museum in fact in the country. What we generally see in most of the museums, there are maybe some artifacts, objects displayed, and there is a maybe short, maybe signage, description of the objects, and maybe a little bit history of that. So this is what we are doing. But what we are not doing at most of the museums is that we are not really trying to showcase the contribution made by that particular culture. Now here the site of 𝙀𝙀𝙀 is a Harappan site. So here we are going to showcase the contribution made by the Harappan culture to the history of the nation and to the history of the world also. We are also going to showcase the advancement made in basic sciences and technologies. So that part also will be displayed, and how South Asia was so important, how most of the developments have taken place in South Asia, that will be also displayed there. Then thirdly, now we will also showcase the relevance of the Harappan studies. Why one should study the Harappan culture? What do we learn from the Harappan culture, from the Harappan material culture? So that part also will be showcased there. And finally, we are going to showcase the continuity in fact from the Harappan till the modern times. And this continuity is very important because there people will get connected, and they will realize that that our roots are quite quite ancient, and we need to go back to the roots to understand the modern developments. So this is what we are planning in fact at the site of 𝙀𝙀𝙀. And the other important project that I want to discuss briefly is the development of the National Maritime Heritage Complex and Museum at the site of Lothal. Now this is for the first time we are announcing to the public of the development of this National Maritime Complex and the museum at the site of Lothal in Gujarat. Now why we have chosen this particular site, the site of Lothal? There are two reasons in fact. One is that Lothal is the earliest port and the first dockyard in the world, dated to around 4500 BC, 4500 years old, 2500 years years BC. So there is a backdrop in fact. We have the earliest dockyard at the site of Lothal in the world, and secondly, Lothal is located little remote away from the cities, and that region needs a lot of development, economic development, and for that in fact a lot of people need to come there. So the site of Lothal, village of Lothal, is equidistant from maybe Gandhinagar, from Ahmedabad, from Baroda, not very far from Rajkot and Bhavnagar. So it is almost located in between. So we know that a lot of people will be coming from all these different places, and they would like to visit the site of Lothal once we have completed the development of the maritime museum there. So that is one reason, in fact, that we want to develop this museum there. And secondly, of course, the economic reason. Being a backward area, being a little remote area, we would like to see some developments happening there. If this particular complex is located maybe in Ahmedabad or Mumbai, that is not going to make a lot of difference there. But here in fact at Lothal, there will be a lot of people visiting, a lot of people will coming there, and that will help in fact the local maybe industry. There will be a lot of maybe cottage industry coming up there, a lot of hotels, restaurants will come up, and certainly the entire economic scenario of the region is going to change. I will give the example how this is going to be successful. When the Statue of Unity was built, there was a lot of criticism. Everybody says that that why the government has wasted a lot of money there, nobody is going to go there. But today, people have to wait for the visit to that particular place. There is so much rush. In fact, I was told that nearly 15 lakh people visit a year that particular place. So imagine how much government is generating revenue from that. And here also we are planning to develop a lot of revenue from the tourist industry, and that revenue will be used for the development of the museum, for the maintenance of the museum here. So these are the two reasons that why we want to develop the museum at the site of Lothal. And here we are planning. This is a big complex. In fact, there are number of agencies involved. It is primarily the project of the Honorable Prime Minister of the country. It is he who has visualized this particular project, because India has such a vast coastline, more than 7,500 kilometer long coastline, and this coastline is tremendously rich, both in tangible heritage and intangible heritage. And we really never thought about developing these type of facilities in fact at one place. So at Lothal, we are going to showcase the maritime heritage of the entire country, not only of Gujarat or not only of Lothal. So from Gujarat till Bengal, in fact, all the states are going to be involved, and the heritage of all these different states that will be showcased at this particular place. And there are so many archaeological sites, maybe monuments in fact along the coast. So some of the monuments will be replicated at this particular complex here. So that is the aim of this particular museum, the objective of the museum. So here the government of India, under the Minister of Shipping and also Minister of Culture, they have taken the initiative, and this museum will be developed mainly by the Ministry of Shipping, and also there will be some participation of the Ministry of Culture in that. The Gujarat government is contributing to the to the land. They have already made available 375 acres of land for this particular project. So what we are planning here in fact, first we are planning a main complex that will be done by the government of India, and this main complex will house 14 museum galleries. Then it will also have a research center. It will also have a conservation center, and also maybe the IMAX theater, the conference halls, etc. All these facilities will be created at one place. Then outside the complex there will be theme park. Now this theme park is not going to be developed by the government. Maybe we will invite maybe the private players here, and it will be developed on PPP model, public-private partnership model. Then outside the complex, we also want to develop the hotels and restaurants, because ultimately we want to develop this particular complex from tourism point of view. So once these facilities are there, I'm sure that a lot of tourists will visit the place. They also would like to stay there, and that is how it will generate a lot of wealth impact in that particular village and the surrounding area. So that is that is what we are planning. Then also there will be quarters for the staff there. Maybe there will be conservation center properly, because in India we do not have conservation center for conserving the objects found in the sea or in water. So that facilities will be created, and there will be participation of many institutions. The Archaeological Survey of India will be part of that, because major the data is going to come from the Archaeological Survey of India, because Archaeological Survey of India has excavated many sites along the coast. The site of Lothal itself was excavated by the Archaeological Survey of India. Then Dholavira site, which is also near the coast, that site is excavated by the Archaeological Survey of India. And there are a lot of sites in Arika Medu in South India, Tamluk and Chandraketugarh in Bengal, and in between there are many sites. So all the data is with the Archaeological Survey of India. So that is going to come from the Archaeological Survey of India. Then the other stakeholder will be some universities. Like Deccan College has excavated the site of Uttasi, which is also a port in Saurashtra region. Then Prabhas Patan, Somnath. So this site also is excavated by the by Deccan College. Even MS University has excavated few sites, and Tamil University in South India have excavated some sites. The Marine Archaeology Wing of the National Institute of Oceanography in Goa, they also will be partner to this. They also are the stakeholders. So there will be a number of different agencies in fact coming together and developing this particular complex here. So the entire maritime tangible and intangible heritage will be showcased at one place, because we know that in our lifetime we are not going to visit all the sites along the coast of India, but here at one place we will be giving the glimpse of the entire heritage of the country. We will be also going beyond maybe India. Maybe we will rope in Sri Lanka, Bangladesh also in this particular project, and we will help them also in developing similar facilities in their own country. So this is the initiative taken by the Ministry of Shipping, and there are a number of stakeholders involved in this. What we are planning now, how we have gone about in fact. Now this is very important that I have learned really a lot for developing a museum, how a museum needs to be developed. A museum of international standard needs to be developed. So I have got a really good lesson because of working with this particular project. What we did in fact, we have prepared a detailed plan of the complex. We have roped in the best architectural firm in this respect, and they have prepared, and the drawing which is developed, that is thoroughly discussed. In fact we have discussed with the Indian scholars, we have discussed this particular plan with a number of other maybe foreign scholars also. We have visited a number of foreign museums in this respect. So we have got really good idea. So that plan is finalized now. But the most important part of developing any museum is developing a content for each and every gallery. What things are going to go in each gallery, that is important. Simply we cannot collect the objects and place in the gallery. That is not the way. So we have invested nearly one full year in developing the context, this content of the each and every gallery, and we have completed that particular process now. So we have 4 research assistants for collecting the data, and it is this particular team which has developed a content for each and every gallery. So in the second stage, what we have done in fact, we have sent these contents to the experts in the respective field. We have formed nearly there is a pool of 100 experts we have identified, and they specialize in different fields in archaeology. So we have sent these contents to these people, and we have started getting the feedback from them. so that we can improve upon what we have done. Maybe we may have missed some maybe aspect. We have got really good feedback, and we are now finalizing this particular content. In the second stage, of course, we are going to hire some professional language people, because ultimately we have to extract the information from this particular the data that we have generated. We have generated a huge amount of data, in fact, for each and every gallery, and ultimately, because that is a authentic academic part that we have completed, and from this academic document, now we will have to pick up relevant data for preparing signage, for giving information. So that part will be done, in which we will be involving some professional, maybe designers, and also the lighting expert and the exhibition expert. So that is going to be the second part. And finally, all the teams, in fact, it is going to be a really good teamwork. All the teams are going to sit together, and then we are going to discuss about the sequence of the gallery, what where what should be placed, and that thing that we have to decide. Now, in each gallery, what we are proposing the original archaeological objects. As I mentioned that some of the objects are going to come from the Archaeological Survey of India, from some universities. So that that part now is going to be done by the research assistant that we have. Now they will be going to go different directions, and they will visit number of different places, different institutions, and they will make a list of the objects related to the maritime activities. And then once that is done, then we are going to pick up what objects are required for the museum. So that is the first thing that we would like to do. Secondly, there may be some rare objects but important objects which need to be there in the museum, but they will not be available. So we will be maybe acquiring, maybe we will be getting maybe some of these objects on loan, or if not possible, maybe we will get the replicas made, and the replicas will be displayed, in fact, in the galleries. Then there will be a lot of dioramas and replicas also. There will be a lot of working models for the particularly we are proposing the working model for some of the important sites, like Lothal, of course, is going to be the main, maybe the showpiece of the museum. Dholavira also is going to be the important showpiece of the museum. So we are going to showcase these two sites properly. So we are going to develop the working model of this, the site of Dholavira and Lothal. Also, we are thinking about early sites like Arikamedu, Cambridge, and maybe some sites in the eastern part. So that will be also done. So that part also will be part of the every museum or every gallery. And then we also are planning to develop a lot of audio visuals. We have decided now what should be the content of audio visuals, which part should be showcased, in fact, in this particular respect. So we are going to use a lot of digital programs, digital technology for this particular purpose, and we are going to showcase all this aspect in the museum. So this is what is planned, in fact, for each and every gallery that we have. So what are these galleries? There will be, of course, the first will be the key gallery. What you are going to see, in fact, in the rest, rest of the galleries. Secondly, we will also discuss about the science of sea in the first gallery, the relation between human and the sea. Then the movement of the people, in fact, maybe right from the prehistoric times, the movement of the people from Africa to Indian subcontinent in the maybe Stone Age period, and then, of course, during the settled life period, in fact, how the movement was happening, about that also will be showcased here. Then also we want to involve, in fact, we want to showcase the what are the natural resources available in sea, and how they are exploited, they are useful for the human being. That part also will be showcased. And then of course the development made in marine archaeology, in underwater archaeology within the country, and also in the surrounding, maybe in the Indian Ocean area. So that part will be there. And then of course what you are going to see in the respective other galleries from here onward. So that is the first, maybe we are going to put maybe the proper chronological chart also here, so that people understand about the developments that have happened, that have taken place in different cultural periods. That part also will be showcased here. And then of course we will have then the we have a lot of mythologies in which there's a description about the sea. Ram Setu is discussed. Samudra Manthan is discussed, and then we have a lot of stories in fact connected with this, so they will be showcased. It is not important here that whether that they are authentic or not, but it is important that they have been mentioned in our text, in our literature, so that people should know about that. So that will be very important part of that. Then of course one of our main gallery will be the Harappan gallery, because all of you know that these Harappans developed this the earliest dockyard, because they are the pioneers. In fact, they are the ones who have taught the world how to carry out the marine trade or the sea trade. They are the pioneers in fact in ship building, in ship repairing, and also they have developed such infrastructure. At that particular age, nobody could have thought about that. So Harappans have created that. We want to really showcase the advancement made by the Harappans in this particular fields. And we know that the Harappans were really great seafarers. And because they established the contact with Mesopotamia, with Iran, with Egypt, they were able to generate a lot of wealth from that region. Because we know that Harappans, trade was surplus. They were getting a lot of wealth from that part. And the Harappans have used that particular wealth for developing the urbanization. The first urbanization happened during the Harappan times, and one of the main factors for the development of the first urbanization was their flourishing trade. And also in fact, in India, the second urbanization took place maybe around 4th, 5th century BC. And that also happened because that time we started developing, the contact with outside world, with the Roman world, Greek world. And, through the trade again, we were getting a lot of wealth. And therefore, we could develop the second urbanization. So the importance of this particular trade in the economic organization, that is very important. And there is so much to learn from that. In fact, the country is learning so much from that. So that will be showcased, in maybe Harappan gallery. And then of course, maybe after the Harappans, maybe interactive sphere, then we want to really showcase properly, in a big way, the contact with the Romans, with the Greeks, and how that contact was beneficial in fact for the both the world, in fact the Roman world as well as the Indian world. So that will be really showcased here at this particular gallery. And we have so much data. In fact, we have excavated a lot of sites which have produced a lot of evidence. In fact, we have a lot of amphoras from number of coastal sites. So some of the amphoras, the actual pieces will be displayed there. Then we have also the textual evidence, in fact, in which it is mentioned what objects were imported, what objects were exported. So that information also will go here. So that is also very important gallery that we will be developing. Then also we want to showcase the trade with Southeast Asia, because we are really at some stage we had a very flourishing trade with Southeast Asia also. And both in fact the Southeast Asia and India both were highly benefited by this particular trade. And there was so much in fact because of this trade activity, because of the seafaring activities, lot of Indian elements have gone outside India. We see a lot of tremendous cultural influence in Indian cultural influence in Southeast Asia. So that part also will be showcased here. For example, in Cambodia we have those beautiful temples, and those temples have been built under the maybe the tutelage of the Indian rulers. They had sent the maybe craftsmen, and they got built these particular activities. Even our epics have traveled, and they are a very important part of maybe some countries, maybe presented in different format. Then we have a lot of maybe Indian maybe cultural elements on the cultures there. So these elements, in fact, the cultural maybe expansion, cultural influence on the surrounding countries, that will be also showcased. The economic developments that have resulted because of the trade, that will be also showcased in this particular gallery. Then in the next gallery, maybe we know that we had a flourishing trade with China also, with South China Sea, with maybe mainland China, and a lot of maybe travelers have come via the sea route also. So we are going to showcase that there is a lot of information available about the merchants and people traveling between these two countries in our literature. And there are some artifacts, in fact. The site of Mahabalipuram is going to be properly showcased, because we see a lot of maybe Chinese contact there. And we also found a lot of Chinese coins in India. Some maybe other objects which are found here. They will be part of the one of the galleries. The gallery which will be dedicated to the trade with China. And then we also want to showcase this trade up to maybe with the Islamic world, with the Portuguese. So continuous, in fact, from Harappan till almost the modern times, up to East India Company. So that will be part of our showcasing in this complex. Then we know that there are a lot of the boat building activities happening even today in part of Gujarat, particularly Mandvi. There are still number of boat builders, and they are using the same age-old technique, in fact, as was showcased or maybe documented by the ancient cultures. So that the present day building activity is also going to be showcased there. We are going to involve, in fact, the local people there, and we will make sure that the local craftsmen, they prepare, that they get some employment out of this. So this is what we are planning. We are also planning to showcase the development of Maratha naval power, how Shivaji could develop the naval power. In fact, I consider that as the beginning of the Indian Navy. So he is the pioneer in that, and from Shivaji's time, how the Indian Navy has developed. We have one show, maybe one gallery where we are going to showcase the post-independence or the Indian Navy's development in various spheres. So that will be part of this also. Then there are number of communities living along the coast. In Orissa, there are a number of communities living in fact near the Chilka lake. We want to showcase the tangible and intangible heritage of these communities. There are communities which are lesser known, in fact, in Andaman and Nicobar. So we are going to showcase these communities, their material culture, both in fact the tangible and intangible heritage. So that will be part of some galleries. So in a way, this is going to be a huge, complex, and at one place people are going to see the entire maritime heritage, here. So what do we expect, in fact, from this project? We expect to generate a lot of revenue for the country, and that revenue will be used for expansion of activities. We don't really want to keep any exhibition static for long, because that is the problem, because if you want people to come back, we don't do that, in fact, in India. If you want people to come back again, then you have to make sure that that next time you should be able to give them something new. So we are going to have maybe the constant changing of the display in the gallery. And therefore, we are going to develop a huge, repertoire impact in our godown. So we will have to have more reserve collection so that we can keep changing the display at regular intervals, and that is how we can attract more tourists impact at the site. There will be maybe special area for the children, because children, they are the future of the country, and they should develop impact, a lot of interest. We need to educate these people, these children, their teachers also, about we have to create the awareness about the importance of the cultural heritage of the country, and how we can really protect and preserve them for the posterity. That is very important. So that also will be part of our program. And then we also, as I mentioned, that we will have to have a proper research center, and the idea is that the researchers may be working on maybe Indian Ocean trade, maybe science of maybe Indian Ocean, and maybe cultural aspect of the Indian Ocean. There are number of scholars working in different parts of the world. So we want to develop the center here at Lothal, so that scholars come here, spend some time, and then we can really decide, we can develop the proper strategies for our future research activities. So we want to make this center very vibrant in this respect. Then as I mentioned that we do not have a conservation lab dedicated for conserving the objects from the water. So we need to develop that. Maybe we have to develop our capacity in that respect. Maybe we are going to maybe tie up with number of museums outside the country. We have already discussed with the government of UK. This Greenwich has one of the perhaps the best maritime museum. In fact, I visited that along with one of the officials from the ministry, and we were so impressed by their collection, by their display, and we have got really so many ideas in fact. So we have included those ideas in our plan, and we have already discussed about the collaboration with them. So they are going to maybe help us in building our capacity in this respect. So this country needs in fact only one national museum of maritime is not really enough. We have to have maybe at least 3 or 4 such national museums for maritime, and slowly I'm sure that these activities will be expanded. Then we also want, as a part of the research activities, we want to really identify some of the sites, coastal sites, which are in danger. Maybe after a few years they will be maybe damaged or completely vanished. So how to do the salvage archaeology there, salvage work, because we had to really develop this salvage archaeology properly in the country, and perhaps this will be the center where the salvage archaeology can be developed, and not only for the sites located along the coast, but also for the inland sites which are not very far from the coast. So we can develop this maybe strategy, we can develop the infrastructure, and also we can develop the capacity here, and then we can train our next generation. Training is also very important part. So the scholars from all over the world are going to come here, and the young generation, the young scholars are going to get proper training in this. So we need to have more, in fact, more maybe conservators, more designers in the field, more maybe marine archaeologists in the field. We need to develop properly, maybe in collaboration with the National Institute of Oceanography, the underwater archaeology properly here. So that is also will be part of our strategy. And then we also, Lothal is little away from the sea, maybe 20 kilometers away from sea. There is no water, but the area that we have, there is a possibility that we can develop a proper water harvesting and water management system. We want to employ the same method as the Dholavira people developed, in fact, almost 4,500 years old ago. So that method we want to implement for the water harvesting and water management at the site of 𝙀𝙀, because the area in fact which we have, there is a depression in fact in part of the area. So that depression we want to use that for collecting water. Maybe we have some plan for that, so that we can always around the building we want to keep water, running water all the time, to give impression that it is near sea or it is in the sea. So that part also will be done at this particular center. And there we need, in fact what we need is the participation of maybe scholars, people from different fields in this particular project. We really need good designers, because we know that that this is a specialized job, and that needs to be done in fact by the specialized designers, those who have designed this type of museums, not only within country but outside the country also. We are going to have maybe global participation in this. So what our plan is, we don't want to engage only one designer who can design all the 14 galleries, because in that case there will be a lot of monotony. So we don't want to have that monotony. We are proposing in the first phase, of course we want to start 6 galleries in the first phase, and that will happen maybe within 3.5 years to 4 years. And we are sure that the building complex is going to come up within 3 years. Then the buildings will be ready for the development in another maybe 6 to 8 months. So we are, our blueprint is ready, and once the building is ready, of course we know how to develop this. So for each and every gallery, we want to hire a separate designer, not the same designer who can develop all the galleries. We also want to hire really world-class, display, persons, those who have specialized in that respect. Even lighting is very important. We are going to, hire the best impact in the world in this particular respect. So this is our plan, and we know that that this project is going to be very successful once it is completed, because people are looking for this type of facilities. They want to get maybe educated, entertained also. So both, in fact, the education will be happening here at this place, and also there will be a lot of entertainment also happening here. So people would like to spend maybe 1 or 2 days here. They would like to see the site also. So the site also needs to be properly developed, because the Archaeological Survey of India has excavated the site of 𝙀𝙀. S.R. Rao in fact did this excavation in 50s and early 60s. So the structures are in a very bad state. So we want to make sure that there is a proper conservation of the structure. We want to do that at the site. Then we want to really showcase properly the dockyard and the functional aspect of dockyard. There will be a lot of maybe animation programs also will be developed. Maybe short films for each gallery will be developed. So this site needs to be developed. And also I'm so happy to tell all of you that our Prime Minister in fact has studied the site of Dholavira and 𝙀𝙀 properly. And when we were discussing about the plan, he was specific that you bring this water maybe harvesting part here, you bring water management here, you showcase the importance of proper importance of 𝙀𝙀, the first dockyard in the world, the drainage system that was developed by the Harappans, impeccable drainage system, that needs to be showcased. Also we are going to showcase maybe some of the manufacturing of crafts, maybe the very important basic technologies that were developed by the Harappans, or some of the basic technologies which were perfected by the Harappans, perfected. So they will be also maybe showcased here. There are some sites like 𝙀𝙀, for example. We have manufacturing area at 𝙀𝙀 also. At 𝙀𝙀 itself, in fact, there is a manufacturing evidence of beads there. That will be showcased here also here. And the present museum that is there in fact at 𝙀𝙀, the Archaeological Survey of India has developed a museum there, and lot of visitors visit this place and the museum, particularly the excavated area still visible, and people go there, they want to get more information. So through these programs, in fact, we are going to properly highlight the sites, we are going to publicize the site properly, and the present museum that is there, that will be shifted to the complex here. So there will be only the archaeological site which will be preserved there, and everything will be at one place. So Lothal, there is a separate gallery for Gujarat maritime activities also. In fact, once we had a meeting with the Chief Minister of Gujarat, and he, after seeing all this, he said that since it is being developed in Gujarat, why don't you have one separate gallery for Gujarat? So we are going to have that, and there we can showcase the maritime activities right from maybe Harappan times till modern times almost. So that is also very important part of our gallery. So these are the just I wanted to sound you what we are proposing, and we will need the cooperation and the participation of most of the young scholars here. A lot of interns, a lot of students who complete their degrees, they will be encouraged to come here and do the internship. So that facility will be available, and we are building maybe small guest house at the site. We will have a proper, our main head office will be at Lothal. At present we have an office in Gandhinagar, a small office. We'll keep that office of course in Gandhinagar, but the head office will be there. And then once this project is successful, because the success is very important. Once this project is successful, we are confident, we are very positive about this, that this will be a successful project. Then we want to expand our activities. And as I say that we want to really develop these type of national museums, maritime museums in different parts. There should be one in fact near Arikamedu, one maybe between Bengal and Orissa. So like that we want to really develop these activities. So I'm particularly happy that that this particular project is coming up at Lothal. Otherwise Lothal would not have got so much importance that it deserves. It will certainly now come in limelight properly. Secondly, as I mentioned that there will be a lot of economic development happening in that region, and this is how before establishing any museum, we must make sure that the museum generates local employment, the local people gets benefited, and also the local people get maybe lion's share in fact in developing some of the infrastructure around the site. If this happens in a big city, perhaps we will not realize the importance of such projects. But since it is happening outside in a little remote area, we are realizing the importance of this type of projects. So this is what we are going to do at the site. So briefly, just I wanted to make sure that people get some idea about the upcoming projects in the country, and these are the two projects that I mentioned. So these museums both at Lothal and Rakhigarhi, we want to make them more as an educational place. People should come there, they could get proper education about the ancient culture, they get proper awareness about the ancient culture. They also could realize how much our cultures are contributed to the history of science and technology of the country and of the world, and what are the maybe continuities in basic science and technology. There is so much continuity even today. I prefer to call that as the Indian knowledge system, which was developed 5,000 years ago. And there are a lot of communities even today who are dependent on this Indian knowledge system. There are so many potters. They follow the same age-old technique for making pottery. So we know, we have generated so much evidence, so much knowledge about the technology. We can, help these communities. Then, there are some people in fact in the Khambat region, some craftsmen who are still making Harappan-like beads, stone beads, by using the same technology. We can encourage these people. We can, and then, by doing this, we will be killing two birds in one stone. One is that we keep alive the traditional knowledge system that we have, otherwise this will vanish. We can develop this craft and market it. We will have proper museum shopping, and there we can maybe invite this craftsman making pottery, making stone beads, making terracottas. They will come here, they will demonstrate their craft for the public, and at the same time the craft that is produced by these people, that will be also sold, so that these people also get some economic benefit from that. So that is also plan part of this our project. So building infrastructure, capacity building is very important, and that needs to be done. And we have visited many places, in fact many museums. Bihar Museum, for example, one of the perhaps the finest museum in fact in the country is Bihar Museum, and we have studied in fact how by going out of the maybe government system, how they are able to develop that type of museum. So we have got a lot of ideas from them, and that is how we will make sure that whatever we are going to create, that is going to be world class. And here we will make sure that the bureaucracy does not come in our way. So this is what we are planning. And on this important day, on the day of International Museum Day, I wanted to let you know these two important projects that the government of India is planning, and there is going to be so much scope, in fact scope for the students. They will get maybe jobs also, and the government is really planning museums on large scale in the country. Not only these two museums, but what I learned that they want to have museum in every district, because museum is very important for education purpose, for maybe outreach program, for letting the relevance of our cultures, and ultimately how proud in fact we are at the end of these studies we feel. So that is also a good feeling that we have. So that is also part of that. And in different parts of the country we have so much variation, in fact not only variation in fact in the complexity of the population, but also maybe variation in the culture. At every maybe 50 kilometers there is a change, variation in the dress pattern, in the food habits. So much in fact diversity in this country, that needs to be really properly harnessed for the development of the country. And that this is what exactly we want to do, and this is going to be the role of these type of projects. Now at the end I would like to also mention that at Rakhigarhi, on the 𝙀-𝙀𝙀.com, now we are going to invite all those who participate in the excavation, some of the senior students, junior students, and they will be expressing their experience at the site of Rakhigarhi. Then we also plan, in fact if we start the work again, we want to plan a proper field training school at the site of Rakhigarhi, because the only field training school happened was in 1946 at the site of Takshila. Sir Mortimer Wheeler did, and some of our well-known archaeologists, they were trained there. In fact Sankalia was one of them, and Bibilal, who is the living example, he has just entered in 100 years, he was trained there. And since then we have not really cared much about training our young maybe generation, our students, properly in field methods. So we are going to do that at the site of Rakhigarhi. And then of course we also want to run number of maybe short-term courses on various aspects, in field methods, in scientific methods, in some specialized subjects. And there we are going to involve maybe scholars from all over the world. In fact they will come, they will give training to the students. So this is also what we are planning at the site of Rakhigarhi, apart from the developing the site from tourism point of view. Both in fact the Lothal and the Rakhigarhi, they will be developed from tourism point of view. And the entire Dholavira also will be showcased here. So maybe if you are not able to go to Dholavira, at least you can get the glimpse of that site here. So friends, I am really happy that I could share this important information with you, and I hope that you will realize that now that there is so much scope in the field, and we need to really come together and develop this field. We need more, maybe museum experts in the country, more conservators, more architects, and with this initiative perhaps we are going to succeed in that. So I take this opportunity to thank all of you. I thank Balram Kumar for organizing this talk, and I hope that all of you are safe and healthy. Thank you very much.